86k. Okay, honest. Wait, was that 105k on the second hit? Oh my god. Is Nilou really that restrictive? Sure, she has a part of her kit that says she only works with Dendro and Hydro characters, but surely her multipliers are good enough to be played elsewhere. Surely she can do something else, right? She's not doomed to only 3 characters. Well, that's what we're gonna find out today. Hello, Genshin Impact players. If I sound under the weather, it's because I actually currently have my 3rd round of COVID-19. This is just my punishment for going to TwitchCon. It's whatever. I feel like at this point I've developed like some kind of super immunity, so now I can just like fight it off anytime it comes my way. Anyways, not the point of the video. I want to take Nilou into Abyss and try 2 different things. I want to try Vape Nilou, which is something that I said in my guide that I didn't necessarily want to cover, but I do want to give it another try here for a separate video. And I also want to cover Nilou in Taser, which is another sort of meta team where a lot of the time you can change up the Hydro units that are in there and it usually still works. So let's talk about what we're going to do. But first, let me show you this in case you're not a Nilou haver or if you're new around here. So basically, when all characters in the party are at all Dendro or Hydro, you basically get enhanced blooms, which are going to be bigger AoE, and you're also going to get an elemental mastery enhancement on your other characters. So that's pretty good. And then her second passive increases the damage of blooms even further. So very clearly, she was meant to be run as a bloom character with no other elemental characters of any kind other than Dendro and Hydro, which in my opinion makes her really restrictive, and I'm really bummed about it. I would have loved to play some kind of freeze bloom or use an animo to group everyone up. I just think that could make her a lot better. That being said, she's not really too bad in her niche. I just want to figure out if she's good outside of it. But as you can see here, so basically all of her skills are gonna scale off of HP, or her skill and her burst are scaling off of HP. And here her burst actually has decent multipliers, so it could actually be pretty helpful for something like Vaporize as well. And then of course, just because this is how you usually run Vape, I'm running Bennett, Xiangling, and Kazuha. Now I am completely aware that Nilou is not benefiting from Bennett. Bennett gives you massive attack buff, her things scale off of HP, so it doesn't really affect her. What Bennett's here for is for Xiangling and for Kazuha. Xiangling is going to be able to snapshot that attack buff, and he's going to be able to battery your Xiangling a little bit, give her some energy. Kazuha will also be able to get that buff as well. So it does help the rest of the team, and it also gives you some healing as well. It's still kind of the move. There's not really another pyro character you'd want to run here because you want your Xiangling to be buffed. You want your Kazuha buffed and to infuse pyro. So anyways, that's going to be the Vaporize team we're running today. Now something to know about this Vaporize team, and this is something that I tested. Nilou will not necessarily be enabling Xiangling every time. Actually, Xiangling is going to be enabling Nilou for a lot of it. So with that in mind, Nilou will actually be dealing some pretty solid Hydro damage if all things go well. Just real quick for her build, if you're wondering, for the Vaporize and for the Taser team, we're going to be running the same thing. We're running HP Hydro damage crit rate, and I'm running Gilded Dreams and Heart of Depth. Now, the reason I'm not running 4 Heart of Depth is because after using elemental skill increases normal attack and charge attack damage by 30% for 15 seconds, this actually doesn't affect Nilou at all because her skill is based on elemental skill damage, and in her normal attacks after her elemental skill is done, where she's doing the Hydro infused stuff, that's still elemental skill damage. So the 4-piece effect does not work. Now you could replace this with any kind of HP thing, and that's totally fine. And then I'm going to be using her signature for this at Refinement 1, level 90. You could use something like Jade Cutter, could use something like the Black Sword that has crit rate on it. Honestly, just know the base attack doesn't matter. Hypothetically, if you had 100% HP all the time, you could use Harbinger of Dawn, and at the very least, you're getting crit damage off Harbinger of Dawn regardless, and the base attack doesn't matter at all. Iron Sting is okay. You have Festering Desire. If you have that one, you get skill damage up, which is also very good. So you have quite a few options for this. Just again, base attack doesn't matter. Lion's Roar could also be very good. If you max out Lion's Roar here, getting the damage bonus against other enemies, pretty dang good if you're playing Taser or a Vape team. So, and then of course we have C0. We have not activated any of these on the media server, and then we are 188. And for Nilou's stats, it will end up with about 59, 128. So honestly, not the best, but it's pretty good. As for our other builds, they're all pretty simple, pretty standard. You have Noblesse, Viridescent, you have Emblem of Severed Fate on Xiangling, the Catch, Favonius Sword, Festering Desire. Also going to be playing a Taser team with Fischl, Polar Star, Thundering Fury Shimenawa, and that should be attack, electro damage, crit. This is just because I don't have enough good pieces to kit everyone out. So Sigil, we have 4-piece Heart of the Depth, the usual attack, hydro damage, crit rate. We're going to be using Sacrificial Sword so we can get the reset. And let's just get in here and try it out. All right, let's get around to it. So if you're going to play Vape Nilou, she has to be on the field. So what I'm actually going to do here is first just open up with my burst. I don't know if this is the move or not, but this is how I would imagine I would want to do something like this. So we can swirl Hydro, Bennett EQ, Xiangling. We want to make sure we use Kazuha's burst, get that pyro damage bonus, and then we're going to use our NAs so we can do this on field. And ideally, we're going to be getting decent Nilou Vape damage as well. But we'll see, because I believe that she should be trading off with other characters. That's okay, though. All right, Xiangling has burst. Use Nilou burst. Honestly, granted, we are using her signature. Oh my god, was that a 96k? Where's everything? Oh my god, I literally just missed one. All right, we'll do it again. Just because I feel like that was peak skill issue. They just took fall damage there. That was kind of weird. Here, Kazuha out here. Skill, we want to use the normal attacks because that's what gives her the infusion. 46k is pretty good. Like, when she's the one actually hitting the Hydro, it's honestly not too bad. All right, let's do this. Use Kazuha burst. Just one more hit for Xiangling. All right, now Nilou burst. That was a 79k on Nilou burst. Honestly, that cleared a lot faster than I thought it was gonna do that. Honestly, that wasn't too bad. Let's move all these guys over here if we can. These guys like to have random movement patterns, which is a bit of a pain in the butt, but it's also, like, it's okay. Here, grab some fab particles. Also do the Kazuha burst here. NAs. Now everyone's piled up over here. I kind of just want a Nilou burst. 86k? Okay. Honest. Wait, was that 105k on the second hit? Oh my god. Wait, that's actually so much better than I thought it would be. Is it like actually good? Probably not actually good, right? But like much better than I thought it was gonna be. Thank you, Kazuha. All right, we don't have to use burst either for this one. We just clear it. Oh my god, that was actually so much better than I thought it was gonna be. Okay, guys, maybe Vape Nilou's not so bad. All right, it is time. The third floor. Let's swirl some pyro. Jump over these guys real quick to stun him. Hit him with one of these. Hit him with a Xiangling. Hit him with Nilou burst. All right, and now they just take a bunch of damage, I guess. This is really funny. Because, like, sometimes Xiangling's getting the vape, and sometimes Nilou's getting it, but either way, like, both of them are having their damage, like, enhanced so much that doesn't really matter. I mean, if you're talking to, like, someone who's, like, really, like, balls deep in theory crafting, maybe. But these guys are dead. All right, yeah, there we go. Gee, so that was like a lot better. Granted, this Abyss does feel like quite a lot easier, but that was not too bad. All things considered, that felt a lot better than I thought it would. And I think it might just be the hyper investment in Nilou. Like, well, obviously we have her signature weapon. We have some pretty good artifacts. Our setup's looking like this. We are C0, but we have talent level 8 on both of our skill and burst here. So all things considered, you take this already super good core here and you just throw Nilou in it. It's not too bad. I expected it to be a lot worse. My review of Vape Nilou, it's all right. She's not doomed. Definitely could be a lot better, but she's not doomed, which is good. So we've talked about Vape. I want to talk about Taser now because obviously Taser is really strong. It's been in the meta for forever, and honestly, its core is so strong that I kind of feel like you can just take any Hydro character and put them in, or any Electro character, as long as they're doing on-field attacks. It's kind of substitutable. So let's talk about that. So our Taser core is essentially your Sync Shot, Fischl, and then an Animo unit. Now, usually this Animo is someone like Sucrose if they're going to be on-field. However, that's not what we're doing. We're actually going to be doing Kazuha instead because Kazuha is going to be better for this team variant in particular, and Nilou's going to be the one on field, which means that Sucrose wouldn't get as much value there. Now, don't be dumb like me. I actually ran Beto for one of my runs. I was doing a whole recording session for this entire video, and I recorded this whole thing with Beto, not remembering that Beto literally doesn't work with Nilou because Beto won't trigger, kind of like with Raiden. So for some reason, I just completely forgot that when I was recording, and now I have to go and redo that entire thing again. Beto does not get her burst triggered with Nilou because Nilou's normal attacks count as elemental skills when you've used her elemental skill. So don't use Beto. Beto gets no value here. You just use Sync Shot. That helps with battery on Nilou, and it helps with your single target output. And it ends up just being very good. So anyways, rant over. Let's see how it does in Abyss. I can tell you already, it's going to be pretty good. All right, we take the crit buff. What's going on? Okay, restart that one. EQE. Use Fischl. Attack. EQ. NAs. I could have used her burst too. That might have been an oversight on my end, but I guess I can just use it at the end. It's not a huge deal. It's just not gonna hit anyone. All right. Back to Xingqiu. Return to Xingqiu C. Yep, and now we just have these two. Honestly, it's, you know, it's standard Taser. I'm not super surprised because it kind of feels like Taser's, it's always pretty, like, strong. It's hard for Taser to be bad. The core units are so good. I'll just finish with this. Yeah, no, the core Taser units are just so strong. It's really hard for them to be bad. Like, Vishal's so good. Xingqiu's so good. Kazuha, if you're using him, it's insanely good. So, like, even if Nilou isn't adding a lot, you still can play her here, and it's still pretty okay. All right, next floor should be nice and easy. We have the bots, the big bots, the ruin things. Shouldn't be too big of a deal. Okay, gonna use our normals. And dude, look at all of that electro charged. Oh my god. I mean, granted, like, obviously Xingqiu, Official, and Kazuha are carrying a lot of this team, right? But it's still not too bad. Also, could you cease, please? Be cool if you would just not do that. Thank you very much. Okay, and now we just finish off the big dragons, the wingless dragons. Imagine being a flightless dragon, El Bozo. Okay, and the rotation timing is like almost perfect. We can just kill him with that. I don't want to use our burst yet, because then we can just open up with him on the next floor, and that'll be really good. So, dude, Taser does feel like pretty dang good. I'm pretty happy with Taser. All right, the final floor. We'll just take the EM, I guess. It's fine. All right, these guys are going to try to yoink our energy, which we can technically, if we didn't suck, we could iframe it, but unlucky. GG go next. But it's fine. Now, the one thing about these guys is they're going to just resist. I'm pretty sure they resist Electro and Hydro. I could be wrong, but off the top of my head, that's what I remember about these guys. And that can be a huge pain in the butt. So that is something to just be aware of. That's kind of why Kazuha gets like extra value here, because not only is he lowering resistances, but he's increasing your damage done. So you have that. Damn, and then 40k on her burst too. Pretty good. With like no reactions, that's decent. Okay, and this guy will be dead here in a second. There we go. So honestly, all in all, like, I'm pretty satisfied with that, but to be honest, again, just Taser is so strong that it's really hard for it to be bad by switching like another Hydro unit for another Hydro. Like, Hydro units are also strong. Xingqiu is strong, Fischl is strong, Kazuha is very good. Like, it's kind of hard for it to be bad, right? This is actually a fairly nice way to run Nilou if you really just hate the concept of Bloom, or if you just want to play her with different characters. We've all basically decided that Nilou is a Bloom character that can be run with 3 other units because we just don't have a lot of Dendro right now. And that does suck a lot, but I'm pretty pleasantly surprised at like how well that actually worked, even if it wasn't optimal, even if there are other units that can do it 10 times better than Nilou. The fact that it wasn't completely awful gives me hope. So, you know, she has red hair. Clearly she should be able to vaporize or be played in vape teams. That's what that means. I'm looking for purple to justify the Taser or Electro. I'm not finding it. All in all though, I'm pretty satisfied with that. I guess you can play Nilou in Vape and Taser teams and it's like fine. I do want to say though, like, just to be clear, I do think Nilou gets hard carried by the other units in the team. I think like most teams you could argue that is like, if you have Xingqiu in here, like they're all kind of carrying, they're all pulling their own weight. And Nilou in Vape does feel like she's pulling some weight, but Xiangling is definitely pulling most of it. Kazuha's definitely pulling a big portion of it. Bennett's definitely battering Xiangling and making her do more damage. And then in Taser, you have Beidou, you have Fischl, and you have Kazuha all adding a lot of damage to that team. And so what you really end up with is a character just filling in a slot for like a meta team that ends up working okay. It's not perfect. There's definitely things that could be improved, but all in all, I'm satisfied with that. I think it's good enough. I do wish she didn't have this restriction. I wish you could play her with anything, any version of a Bloom team, with Cryo, with Animo. I wish you could do that. I think that'd be amazing, but it is good to know that like, it's not the worst thing in the world if you want to just go ahead and build her with her weapon that has HP scaling on it, or give her like something like Jade Cutter, Black Cliff, Fester Hamstring Desire is good because it gives you skill damage, and that's your skill and your moves after that. You can give her a few different weapons, and that ends up being pretty good. You can give her a mix of HP, hydro damage, crit rate, and that ends up being pretty good too. Just not for Bloom, right? Now, the downside to doing this is that you would basically have to have a crit rate or HP weapon. A lot of people might argue that a Harbinger of Dawn is fine, but in a lot of the teams you're going to be playing Nilou in, you're not going to be above 90% HP all the time. Especially like with Bennett, you're not going to always reach that 90% threshold, so you might not be getting all that crit value. That said, the base attack literally doesn't matter, so that's a plus for Nilou. Anyways, sorry this video was a little disorganized, COVID brain, and I'm working on getting everything back together, but I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have enjoyed, make sure to leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the video. If you enjoy it, make sure to subscribe. Consider going to check out the Twitch where we do a lot of this stuff live, and I'll catch you guys later. Good luck pulling for Nilou.